Hello YouTube! This is MaitreDesBlocs, and today I'm going to show you my 4-way switch in vanilla Minecraft 1.11 and above. For those who wonder, a 4-way switch is a switch with 4 different states. In real life, like the 3-way switch, these are usually used for light bulbs with more states than just on and off. For example, a 3-way light bulb could have on, half on, and off. In Minecraft, there is a redstone lamp which has 2 different states, on and off. To application to that, a 4-way switch in Minecraft would have 4 different states to the redstone lamp, which would be, in sequence, on, then on, ready to turn off, off, and then off, ready to turn on. Here I have to show 2 different models of this type of switch. The first one over here works in versions prior to 1.11, and the second version here, more compact, using the observer block, only works in 1.11 snapshots containing the observer block and above. Both designs work exactly the same as follow. You press the input once, the output turns on. You press the input again, the output stays on. You press it a third time, the output turns off, and you press it again, and it stays off. And that basically repeats forever on both sequences. Same thing here. You press the input once, the output turns on. You press the input again, nothing changes with the output. You press the input a third time, the output turns off. And you press the input a 4th time, the whole thing resets, and the output remains off. You might be wondering, what would the system be used for? Why would you want a switch that only turns the output every second time you press it? Well, one of this implication could be bud switches. More specifically, farmland and redstone ore bud switches. In this example here, we have some hidden bud switches into the walls, into the floor, and into the ceiling, all activating redstone lamps. And because of redstone ore and farmland properties, the way these bud switches work, when you right-click redstone, it changes its state. If you look at the block at the right side of the screen right now, it says Minecraft redstone ore. And when I right-click this, it will update to be Minecraft lit redstone ore. After a little while, this will update a second time back to redstone ore, ready to be activated again, giving it 2 different updates every single activation. Same thing with the farmland, because right now this is dirt, and if I tell it to farmland, it updates to become farmland, but when over time it'll become dirt again, if I can jump on it a few times, there we go. This is the second update. Third update would be activating it from on to off, and 4th update will be to putting this back to dirt. There are 2 different sets of bud switch systems I have here. The iron ones are the ones using the prior to 1.11 systems, and the gold ones are the ones using the compacted version for 1.11, and both work really well. If I right-click all of these redstone ore, all of the lights will turn on every single redstone ore system. And let me also tell the farmland, all the system are now active. Now let's wait for all of these blocks to update back to their second form, and actually you can do this by just putting the random tick speed to a higher number. Random tick speed. Let's put that to 100. As you can see, all of the redstone ore became redstone ore again. All of the farmland became dirt, but the lights are still on. Let me put this back to 3. If I right-click this again, it changes it back to off. If I tell this again, it changes that back to off, and so on for every single system. Now to the explanation on how the system works. The prior to 1.11 version is simpler than the newer version, so I'm going to explain this one first. Basically, what we have here is 4 different hoppers facing exactly into each other to make a loop that goes like this. So an item into these ones would just go like this in a circle forever. unless the hoppers are locked with redstone power. This is exactly what happens here. All of these hoppers are powered by redstone on top of them, which are all activated by this redstone torch right here. There is a sword in the system right here into this hopper. No, maybe it's into this one. Yep, it's in this one. We have a wooden sword to the system that will travel through the hoppers every time this redstone is unpowered for one single redstone tick. And this happens with this torch right here, because this torch is rigged up with a monostable circuit. When I press this button, there's a simple monostable circuit that happens here, which will unpower this torch, unpowering this redstone, letting the item go from one hopper to the next, but not move further than that. And this has 4 different memory states that this can happen to, because every time this will be unpowered, it'll move from one hopper to the next, and there are 4 different states that it can be into. Let me demonstrate. So right now, it's into this hopper. If I press this button, it will be into this hopper over here. If I press this button again, it will be into one of the hoppers connected to comparators. Both of these are connected to the same wire, which are powered. This wire is powered if any of those comparators are powered, because a wooden sword, or any item that is taking a full stack, is enough space into the hopper to make the redstone go further than one single block. So that's why both of these are activating both of these redstone wires and activating the output. Let me push this again. That goes to the second one. Output's still activated. And then the next one will put this off because it's not into one of the ones connected to the comparators anymore. To understand the 1.11 version, you first need to understand 2 observer block mechanics. First of all, observer blocks can detect block updates every time they are moved, even if they're facing thin air. And this happens no matter what block is facing into, they always activate whenever they are moved by a piston. So like this. It'll activate once to every single redstone lamp every time the piston moves. Just like that. Second, observer blocks give a 1-tick pulse, which means that sticky pistons powered by these will lose their blocks when extending, like this. The output is activated by a comparator, which receives its power from a cauldron when the cauldron is into position B, marked by the orange wool, which it is at the 2 positions where the system is turned on. When the switch is activated, piston B receives power from piston A's observer block, making it receive a 1-tick pulse, moving the observer block on the purple wool from the point A to the point B, powering piston C, which makes the cauldron move from position A to position B. When you press the button for the second time, piston B is activated once more, pulling back the observer block on the purple wool to point A, and powering the cauldron that is on point B, although that does nothing because the cauldron doesn't transmit power to the piston C. When you activate it for the third time, the observer block moves back to position B, powering piston C once again, putting the cauldron back into position A on the orange wool, making it so the comparator gets unpowered. When the system is activated for the last time, the observer block is moved back to position A on the purple wool, powering the air into position B, and therefore nothing else changes and the whole thing is reset. In this tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to build the 3 following designs. This one meant to face the side, so this is where the input is going to be. This one meant to face up, same thing over here. And this one meant to face down right here. They're all 2x2x3 and very compact actually. The only thing that really gets out of the hitbox, or I could say whatever, of these things is this block right here. But if you don't count this to support the comparator, they're all 2x2x3. And they all need pretty much the same materials to build them too. They all need 2 observer blocks, 1 cauldron, 1 water bucket to fill the cauldron, 2 sticky pistons, 1 comparator, and 1 block to put the comparator on. And that's pretty much all you need to build all of these systems. There are some exceptions to specific blocks for each of these though. This one needs 1 extra observer block, this one needs 1 extra block, and this one needs another, also same thing as that one, another block right here. But apart from that, they're all pretty much the same, and now I'm going to show you how to build them. So let's go on with the tutorial. Let's start with the first design, which is the one facing the side. First of all, you'll want to get a 2x3 area where you're going to build this thing. Start off by placing one single block of any type that you can place redstone or comparators or repeaters on it, just like that, and 2 observer blocks facing into that block, just like this. Now I want to place a comparator facing outwards, like that, and this is where you're going to get your output signal. Now you'll want to get a sticky piston out and place one just like this, and the other just like that. The first one you'll want to stick an observer block to it, facing downwards, just like this, and on top of the observer block you'll want to put a cauldron with water inside of it. And that's basically it. If you want to power this without having a block update detector thing by redstone or farmland or whatever, here, instead, if you want to do it by a lever or a button or something, you'll want to place a sticky piston instead of this observer block, just like this. And this observer block needs to be sticking into that. So now if you get a button, whenever you give a button power to this, the whole thing activates once. For the second design, which is the one facing up, you want to start off by placing a block right here, with a comparator on it facing outwards, just like that. One block at the side, and one observer block on top of that facing upwards. Now you'll want to take your sticky pistons, and you'll want to place one right here, and the other just like that. One observer block on the first one, which is the one more below, you'll want to place an observer block facing downwards, just like this. And a cauldron right here next to the first observer block. Fill that up with water, and that's pretty much it. If you want to activate this by a button press, you want to place a sticky piston just like this, controlling this observer block. So now if you give this a button power, every time the observer block will move there, the whole thing will activate. For the last design, which is the one facing downwards, you first want to take a redstone comparator and place it just like this. Then you'll want to take one observer block and place it with a block on top. This one needs to face downwards, just like this on the side of it. There we go. Now you'll want to place one sticky piston like this, and the other sticky piston facing just like that, and one cauldron filled up with water right here. And the last thing is the observer block, the last one, where you want to place it on the top sticky piston, just facing upwards like that. And that's pretty much it for this one. The thing you want to do if you want to put a button press to this, you'll want to remove this block right here, and you'll want to place right here, if I can do this, a sticky piston. My gosh, there we go. And a button for a button press just like this, and then this will control the whole thing. When it goes up, the whole system will activate. Although there is a bug with the observer blocks right now, but if I replace this, it should work just fine. Yep, just like that. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial video. I really hope that you enjoyed. I really hope that this helped you for something. I really hope this provided you with something, or helped you with one of your future redstone builds maybe, or if you learned something, or whatever. I hope so, because if you did, that's my goal with this. I'll put a download to this world into the description if you guys want to check this out in more detail. But anyways, that'll be it for this one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. MaitreDesBlocs, out.